I don't want to be under corporate slavery, government slavery. I understand anything big that's undemocratic and unlibertarian is going to be hijacked by special interest. And so I'm pro-education. I want people to know how the world really works. And I want the 10 amendments. I want them all. And I know that there may have been differences in the parties before, and there were sometimes in history, but now there certainly isn't. And special interest, I mean, we've had Democratic and Republican leaders in the House and Senate come out and say that foreign banks, offshore banks, they're not even foreign, they're offshore, they have no country, pirates are on the sea, they're not in any nation,
right.
that they own and run Congress completely.
Well, one of our senators just said that a couple weeks ago, right? It was Carl Levin said, was it Carl Levin?
He said it.
He said bankers still own Congress. That's what he said. He told the truth. But now I have another question for you. You don't ever advocate any violence, do you?
No.
I've never heard you advocate any violence. I wouldn't be on your show.
What people say I do?
Yeah, you know, I've heard that I think, because you said you support all the amendments from 1 to 10. And this is what the problem in our country. We think that we can pick and choose what amendments that we like. And then we don't have to like the other ones. I don't like guns. I hate guns. I don't own guns, but the Second Amendment gives us the right to keep and bear arms, doesn't it?
Yes.
And, you know, all the amendments have laws that have passed to restrict the amendments, and as long as they're not too draconian. But the thing is that we are trying to support this Constitution that our leaders and the banks and the corporations have destroyed.
Well, that's what they do. They sell one person, one group, I'm getting rid of this one, and then let's get rid of that one, or let's restrict this one, let's restrict that one, and pretty soon they're all gone. But no, that's what they do, and that's the new media tactic, is that take 9/11 truth. Never anything violent, never did anything wrong. And for 2 years, I would see Fox, CNN, MSNBC say 9/11 truthers are violent. They work with Al-Qaeda. They need to be arrested. That's Glenn Beck.
They say that about me, too.
So
I'm an Al-Qaeda supporter because I want peace.
Exactly. So now, this horrible, deranged 88-year-old World War II vet, that doesn't mean all World War II vets support killing people at the Holocaust Memorial.
Right.
Well, just like because the guy supposedly signed a 9/11 petition, there's been hundreds of those, and this one had 16,000 signatures, that now Glenn Beck said, quote, that 9/11 Truth sees him as a hero because he signed a petition. No one ever said that. It's pure guilt by association, and that's pure intimidation just to get us off kilter. Let's talk about this media, left and right, that supported the murder of over 1 million Iraqis.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about, see, they always want to get it off of them and onto us, when clearly there's torture going on. Clearly Obama said he wouldn't hire any lobbyists, and that's all he did.
Right.
Clearly he said he was going to make all the bailout money and the stimulus money public, and he's made it secret.
Right.
So, you know, clearly this guy is on the telephone, they admit, every week with Bush still.
Right.
I mean, you saw him hugging and kissing, literally, when he got on the helicopter, and I'll call you next week. I was reading their lips.
Yeah.
I mean, you could see it. And this is a big sick joke in keeping all of Bush's people and Clinton's people coming in.
Right.
I mean, talk about false hope. You know, that's like kidnapping a little kid with the hope he's going to get some candy when he gets in the van.
Right.
And then now the little kid's kidnapped. It hasn't dawned on him yet. He's in the car with a monster. And so you got a lot of Democrats now are saying, what's wrong with torture? What's wrong with secret arrest? What's wrong with, keeping the war going? And so, of course, they've got to say we're immoral or we're violent.
And that's what's wrong with the so-called anti-war movement. They're only an anti-Republican war movement. And Obama has put half of the country to sleep, thinking that if he's doing it, it's okay.
Cindy, let's talk about Obama. And I mean, I'd like to hear in your own words. I've heard you talk about the two parties being twins and challenging Democrats. A lot of them are getting disillusioned as approval ratings dropped. But the Democrats say, well, what are we going to do? Put a Republican in? No, what we do is make it about issues and say we're not voting for anybody that supports the war.
Right.
And that we're going to try to impeach anybody that doesn't sign a pledge that when you get elected, you're going to vote against it. And it's like that on all these issues where the people are all over here, and whatever the people want happens to be also in the Bill of Rights Constitution on most issues. And then over here, the government's always doing the opposite. So, I mean, call them out here on air. I mean, looking at the camera out there, what does Cindy Sheehan say to these Democrats? Because I've been out on the streets talking to them, and they say, first it was, he's God, he's going to fix it all. Now it's, I know he had to lie to get in, but at least he's not Bush.
Well, you know what? But that's true. He's not Bush. Who is? Bush is Bush. But he's continuing the policies of Bush. I have people on the so-called right email me and say, you're a hypocrite because you oppose Bush's wars, but you don't oppose Obama's wars. They're doing the same thing. And I say, first of all, I do oppose Obama's wars, but you're the hypocrite if you don't support Obama's wars because you supported Bush wars. But now on the Democratic left, it's the same thing. If you oppose Bush's policies and you support Obama's, that's hypocritical. And that's what allows our leaders to literally get away with murder.
That's it.
Murder and torture.
They play us off in this left-right paradigm.
Right.
It's like tag team wrestling, but they're both owned by the same company.
It's a game. You know, and then the Democrats were really upset with Obama when he voted for the FISA legislation, but they won't go so far to say, I'm going to withhold my vote from you. You didn't earn my vote. I'm going to vote for somebody who stands up for the Constitution, somebody who stands up for our rights, like Cynthia McKinney or Ralph Nader. That would be the Democrats' choice, right? The Republicans would have had the choice of Ron Paul. And so they don't, but they don't do that because they believe in this Democrat-Republican paradigm. So the Democrats just very arrogantly say, who are you going to vote for? You're going to vote for McCain? You know, like that's the only two choices. That our only two choices were McCain or Obama. And in reality, those are the only two choices. Those are the only two people that are going to win. And they're
really on the same team working against the people. In fact, I see this constantly.
Yeah, absolutely.
In hundreds of emails and calls. And I look at, say, the Obama Deception on YouTube. There's a version with 2.5 million views. And I'll check it once they just see what the comments are. And usually it's, you're just a racist that doesn't like black people.
Oh, yeah.
And then you click on their channel, it's always a white guy saying it. And it gets worse. It's kind of a high and mighty thing, you know. But then it's worse. They say, oh, you didn't bash Bush when he was doing all this, and they don't even know that all I did was go after Bush.
That's not true because we're going after the policies and the principles, not the person, right? So now when we went to George Bush's home in Preston Hollow in Dallas on Monday to protest him, I got as much crap from the left, the so-called left, as I did from the right, because
they wanted to stay there. They want it all to end. They want to shut up about the war, move on, feel good about themselves, while the Iraqis die. Stay with us.
Absolutely.